It's time for Let's Talk with Tara. Tara is a counseling coach who addresses real issues that plague many women today. Issues like church hurt, disappointment, anxiety, depression, and many more. You will be inspired, educated, and empowered on how to receive the help and healing needed to move forward. If you have real issues, then Tara has real solutions. Let's talk with Tara.
Oh, cheers on. Yes, how are you guys? I am so excited to be on today. It is midday with Tara. Let's talk. Midday Monday. Let's talk with Tara. I am so excited to be on today. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me today. I just want to share some information with you guys today. I know I haven't been on in a few weeks, just been so busy, but I have been truly thinking about you guys. And if you follow me on my social media platforms, at all of them at Let's Talk Tara, that's IG, Facebook, you can always catch me either live, or I do have a women's, what we call a Wise Women Win group, especially for women, that's exclusive for women. We have a membership group that you can surely join. And I can share some of that information at the end of this podcast, but I am so excited to be on today. I want to talk to you guys about why it is so hard to change. As you know, I am a counselor, I'm a certified life coach, a board certified mental health coach, and I speak with people daily. I talk with so many different clients from different genres, but I have found this facts to be true in all genres, all type of people, all cultural backgrounds. Why people find it so hard to change. And the main reason that I have found why people find it so hard to change is because they simply don't want to change. Now, let me explain what I said. You know, people say, oh, that's not true. People do want to change. Now, people know that they need to change, but they don't necessarily want to change. And there's a difference between a need and a want. So many people know that they need to change. They need to change, but they don't necessarily want to change. And I'm going to explain that, why I say what I say, because there's a difference in what we need and what we want. We don't live our lives off of what we need. We live our lives off what we want. Say that again. We don't live our lives off of what we need. We live our lives off of what we want. I'll give you so many examples. We may need to lose weight, but we want to stay at home and sit on the couch, or we want to eat unhealthy. We may need to know that we need to save money, but we want to buy a new bag, or we want to buy a new house, or we want to buy a new car, or we want to buy new clothing. So there's a difference in what we need to do and what we want to do. Same's true when it comes to change. So many people, they know they need to change, but they're not quite ready. They don't want to change. They don't want to change because, one, they're comfortable. They become comfortable in the chaos. People become comfortable in their chaos. And I say that because so many people, you know, we live our lives in some type of dysfunction. I don't care what background you came from, it's some type of dysfunction. And what happens is we get comfortable in that dysfunction. We may not necessarily like it, but we get comfortable in it. We get comfortable in bad relationships. We get comfortable with spending unnecessary money. We get comfortable with eating bad. We get comfortable with accepting less or bad behavior from people that we love or we're associated with, all because, well, I know this dysfunction. I know this person. I know this chaos. If I change it, then I'm going to have to be uncomfortable with doing something new. So rather becoming uncomfortable, people stay with what they're comfortable with. That's one reason that people find it so hard to change. The next thing is they become familiar with it. People become familiar with their surroundings. They become familiar with the toxic relationships. They become familiar with the chaotic environments. They become familiar with the foolishness. They become familiar with it. They're not only comfortable with it, they're familiar with it. It doesn't mean that they don't dislike it and they don't want it to change. They don't need change. Let me say that, because it's the difference between I need and I want. That they don't need change. It's just they're familiar with it. If you are familiar with walking down a certain path, it's going to be very hard for you to change that path and go down another path, because it's familiar to you. You know the people on that path. You know the trees on that path. You know the houses on that path. You're familiar with that road. You're familiar with that path. So people get familiar with the dysfunction. They get familiar with it, even though they don't necessarily like it. They may not necessarily like it, but they become familiar with it. And so many of us live our life because we're comfortable and we're familiar with something, and that's even a mindset. It's even a mindset. You get familiar with the same destructive thought pattern that it becomes hard to change because you're comfortable with it. You're familiar with it. So you keep doing the same thing. Our brain is created with what we call neuroplasticity, and it creates grooves in our brain. So our brain starts having we go down that same pathway in our brain. Our brain creates that same road, if you can imagine a road, a well-trodden road. Every time you do something, your brain, it kind of trots down that path. It creates that groove in our brain, so we become familiar with it, and it's the first thing that we do, and it makes it hard to change. I kind of don't want to get too far into neuroplasticity and how the brain works today, but I kind of want to give you that example of familiarity and being comfortable. Just let me say that again. If you can imagine a wooded area that's been trodden down, the path has been trodden down, and that's a path that you are used to walking. It's going to be hard to create another path, because when you create another path, that means you're going to have to trot down grass and debris that you've never trotted on anymore, or trotted on before. And it's going to be difficult because the grass may be high. You may have sticks on it. You may have things on it. So it becomes difficult. So the first thing we do, because we're familiar with the path that we know, even though we may not like it, we go down that path because, hey, I know this path, the other path that I'm trying to create is difficult. I got to do too much. It's too much stuff on there. So you fall back into being comfortable and familiar. Okay? You fall back to being comfortable and familiar. The next thing is fear. So many people live in fear. They live in fear. Fear of the unknown. And that's a valid fear. It's difficult to change because when you are comfortable and familiar with what you know, your surroundings, your people, and you have to do something different, you don't know what's behind the door. You don't know what's behind the door. It's hard for you to pick that door. Well, I don't like the door where I am. I don't like the situation that you're in now. But for me to pick another door means that I don't know what's behind that door. Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? What am I going to have to face? Is it going to be some trials? What am I going to have to do? That's how people think. What are you going to have to do? So fear keeps people in the same conundrum, the same cycle, preventing them to change. So often, fear keeps people in that same cycle, preventing them to change in their life. Preventing them. It prevents people to change. It's prevent people to change. So we talked about being comfortable, familiar, and fear. The last thing, because I'm not going to be on long today, I just want to come on just for a few minutes, about being secure. People don't change because they're secure with where they are. They don't like it, but they're secure with it. And that goes along with the fear. Fear keeps you secure in that place. When you're fearful, it keeps you secure because, again, I know this craziness. I know this chaos. You don't know what's behind door number 1 or door number 2. Even though it may be the best thing for you, but because you're secure in it, you become secure in the fear. You don't change. You become secure in the fear that you don't change. You don't change. So listen, I tell you what, it's so hard sometimes when we talk about fear and change and being comfortable. So many people are staying, and I hear people say, people should just, if you don't like it, just change. It's not always that simple for people. Change is not just that simple. What may be simple in one area may be very hard in another area. So when we look at change, we have to look at it from so many dimensions. It may be easy for one person to save money, or it may be easy for you to save money, but in another area, it may be very hard for you to lose weight. It may be hard for you to forgive. It may be hard for you to do something different to create new productive patterns because of past hurts that keep you comfortable, familiar, fear, and secure. So we have to look at change from a different viewpoint, from a different perspective. To change your life, change starts with a mindset. Before you can actually do the work, see change in your life, you have to change it in your mindset, in your mind first. You have to overcome being comfortable, overcome being familiar, overcome the fear and the security of the situation and say, hey, I'm going to do it, even if it's uncomfortable. Even if I have to do something new that's unfamiliar to me, even if I have to do it afraid, even if I have to let go of my security, the secureness of this chaos, you have to make a decision within yourself that you're going to do it no matter what. And next week, I'm going to talk about the no matter what attitude. Okay? The no matter what attitude. The no matter what. Change can be so hard because sometimes people just don't want to change, because change causes you to change. It causes you to do something that causes you, not to be comfortable anymore. It's going to cause the unfamiliar to show up in your life. It's going to cause you to do it afraid. It's going to cause you to let go of the security of the chaos of that situation, of that relationship. It's going to cause you to maybe lose some people in your life. Yeah. So change can be very hard. Change can be very hard. So next week, this is Tara T. Stallings. Like I said, I'm not going to be on long today, but I do want to share that with you. Change can be very hard. Listen, let me help you change. I am a counselor, master certified life coach, board certified mental health coach, and I want to help you. Follow me on all my social media platforms at Let's Talk Tara. You can find me on IG and Facebook at Let's Talk Tara, and reach out. If you have any questions, I am here to answer them. This has been Monday midday, Let's Talk Tara.
You have been listening to Let's Talk with Tara. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Remember, if you have real issues, then Tara has real solutions. Thanks for stopping by. See you next week.